Hello guys, today I'm going to talk about graphical work. When you do any research, any type of study, it's very nice to present a graph or a plot or image that makes your report or your report or your paper, your presentation much more understandable and attractive. And you can simply present a figure to explain what instead of writing hundreds or thousands of words. It's very simple to make a figure or a graph, because that graph can say that thousand words at once immediately, so the reader can get the idea without any further discussion and text and all. But the important thing is that this graphical work that you present in your work is self-explanatory, clear, focused, informative, fit into the story, good caption, and simple. So today we are going to discuss about these things and how to make this graphical works in having these conditions. So how graphical works? We have different types of graphical works. We have graphs, flowcharts, microstructure, equipment, experiment setup, schematic presentations, combine, and the graphical abstract apartment. There are different types of graphical works that we can, but it is you to decide which one of them can present what you want, can give your idea, your message to the reader or the audiences who are listening to you faster and easier. It's you who decides about the. But let's see if we want to present a graph. Which type of graph we have? We can have bars, bar charts, scatter plot, P charts, and etc. We have different types. For example, look at this graph on the left-hand side. Well, it's not very conclusive. The reader can see only two lines, and one is current and one is voltage. Well, this is something. For example, the voltage is around 10, or and the current is around 200. So just not no more further information is given. So such a plot is not very informative. So what can a reader learn out of it? Nothing, just a shift. But let us present it in another way. Look at the figure on the right hand side. So as you see here, the voltage now on the right hand side, we have the scale on the right hand side and the current on the left hand side. And as you see, we have magnified somehow. When you have magnified the voltage, and you see that the voltage now varies between 280 and sorry, this is the current that's we're moving from 208 and 211 is varies. We have a variation, but as you see, the voltage is almost constant. So it is almost constant. How that was the point, that if you present the plot, the graph, the like the plot on the left hand side, you cannot get information about the data. You cannot present it, and the reader or the audience can see it and can think that the voltage is constant, so as the current. But it is not so when you plot it in that way, and the audience can see the variations as well in voltage in current, but and see that voltage is more constant. So look at another plot. So this plot. So when you look at it, okay, you see the horizontal axis You see a vertical axis, of course, yeah, any plot has it, and you see a line and yield stress in megapascal. Okay, well, what else can you learn out of it? Hmm? What are the horizontal and vertical axes? They are not given, so you just can only see the stress in megapascal. That's all. Well, let us present it another way. Look at the graph on the left hand side. Okay, so more or less the same, just we saw the points. And now look at the right hand side. Aha, the, this plot emphasizes somehow on a trend. They say that there is a trend in the plot in the stress, and there is a linear trend, and this linear trend, as you see the equation here, when you give the x to this equation, you get y. So what? It's not this clear that what is x and what is y. Let us go further. Aha, now the horizontal axis, the grain size. Yeah, then what makes sense with the units. And the vertical axis, yield strength. So then now that makes sense. We can see that if we gave the grain size to this equation, we can get the strength in the right hand side, the left hand side. And also what is important to see is that we emphasize that we can see the uncertainties as well. Look at the points, this white circus, more white circus, and you see two lines, one above, one below. That shows the uncertainty level. So you see, this plot or this graph is more informative. There are more information about it, and the reader with the first glance can see the trend, uncertainty level, the linear regression equation, the horizontal axis, and the vertical axis. That's the right way of presenting a plot. Always, when you present a plot in your work, think about those items, those criteria that I explained in the beginning. It should be self-informative, self-explanatory, clear, focused, and yeah, blah blah. Then you can see that this is a good plot now. Then when you present a plot, be careful about these things. Horizontal axis and the unit, vertical axis, the unit, and think how can you present as much as possible information, as much as possible, the information inside that plot. Let us look at this table. Well, we see a sample A, B, C, D, E. Okay. The second column, impact toughness. Okay. And on the other, hardness. So, well, it's not very well. The number you see the numbers are from, for example, are on the left hand side of the cells, and for the second and the third one on the right hand side. This one is better. Now it's more visible. Try to keep the numbers large enough so that the reader or audiences can see it easier. If you necessary, make some part of the text, some part of the name of the columns or rows more visible by making them bold or italic, or you decide. And keep the numbers at center, all of them, not one on the left, one on the middle, one on the right. Keep if you have a cell, keep them in the middle. That's the simplest way of presenting. And again, when you have numbers in your paper presentation, whatever thesis work, you need to have the units in front of it. So in the table, if you have number, you should give the units as well. Bar charts. Well, gives all info. For example, here you have samples A, B, C, D, E, and you see the size of the sample, hardness value, and the impact of toughness. And you can have this type of bar, this with two variables now in this chart. Well, you cannot see the differences very well, actually. You can see that they are different, but how much? It's very hard to see. And also, it's difficult to find the relationship between the samples. Another thing that I should say, this plot has not horizontal axis, it's not defined. What is ABC? Probably they should have been here as sample, or the other one is a frequency or something, the values for the sample. Scatter plot. Scatter plot is interesting. It shows also relationship, easy to catch and more scientific. Look at the plot. The right hand side, you see this plot, A, B, C, the other samples, and you will see that they have a trend. This is decreasing trend somehow based on the hardness and it's the toughness. You see this relationship, somehow a correlation. But it's only that, not more than that. Let's just add the cost, the price. And you see with the scatter plot, by changing the size of the points or the circles, you can also give more information to the reader or audiences with the size. For example, A is $10, $100, and it's larger, and it's E also for $100. So based on this price, you can also. Our price is just an example. It's just an example. It means that with playing with the size of these points, the size of the circles, you can give more information to the readers. Also, the interesting part is the color. And you see, by giving the different colors to each circle, you can give more information, even more than the price. So it's not just the location of the points, the size of the points, and also the color of the point. So you see, scatter plots are very good to give more information, to present more information. But it's you who design and decide when you should use bar chart, when you need to use scatter plot, when you use P chart. This is you decide. Then you should select it based on your own method of taste and based on this. You are the best to know which one. As I was explaining, the bar chart on the left-hand side is not very precise because we do not see the accuracy of that. But look at the right-hand side. In addition to the percentage or prediction accuracy, we have also the uncertainties. So more information is given in the right-hand side chart. And 3D visualization sometimes can be misleading. Look at the figure on the left-hand side. So it is made 3D, and this causes that the green part is seen a bit larger than it is. But if you look at the 2D graph on the right-hand side, you see that no, the green side is not that large comparing to what we see on the. So the left-hand side, this is a 3D visualization, is misleading. So avoid using these 3D plots if it is not necessary. if there is no for making beautiful. No, don't do it. If it is, it may lead, it will be maybe misleading. Some softwares, some special vendor softwares, they give you some plots. For example, the plot that you see on the top, it's not very. You just see some lines there. It's very hard to recognize it. It is programmatic generation. It means that, for example, if you use Python, MATLAB, or some software that you can change the way of presentation. So make the bold, you can define the axis size, the resolution of the axis, and different things to make it better. But some softwares, they do not have such a possibility. So they just give you this plot and you do not have the possibility to improve them. So in this case, just extract the data and use a programmatic software like MATLAB, Python, anything. So you can control and see to visualize these things better. For example, the plot you see in below is some more information. There are more information in it, and it was made by programmatic software. So, for example, the x-axis, you can give the right x energy, for example, here, or yeah, you can add this information, and you have control over what you plot. Microstructure. There are some parameters that you have to consider when you work with microstructure. Scale bar is important. It should be clear, focused, annotated, and must not be manipulated. You can change the brightness and contrast, but not the figure. Look at this one. For example, look at the left-hand side. Well, you see a microstructure here, and on the right, on the right-hand side, you see you can simply see that this part is taken from this side. So you can simply guess that is some form of magnification of that part. So, but it's not very clear. So it's better that we do it like this. We do proper scale bar, indicate the multi-bright phase in austenite. Round black particles are inclusions, and black irregular shape are signals. So we will see that the second image is magnification of some part of the first image. So let's go further for that. Now it's better. So we can see here that the figure on the right-hand side is a magnification of this part of this figure. You see a clear scale. For example, yeah, this is a scale here, and this is tensor. This means that it's somehow magnified. And the right you see here, right is here, you see, and also some small dots here are magnified here, and also two small dots here. What are these? They are inclusions. So this is a way of presenting a microstructure to give more details about this. So what generally I can say so far, be clear, and clear. So flowchart. Flowchart is used when you want to present a process or classification or history of something. So for example, a good way of presenting a process. For example, you want to give a presentation, or you want to, you're doing a research and writing or somewhere. So you should do a literature review that you have probably done. the research project, the importance, knowledge gap. You will define it based on the studies that you do. You will define objectives, and then from the objective, you come to research questions. After that, you will do a comprehensive literature review and performing a planned experiment. And after that, getting the information about the experiment, you evaluate the results and check the reliability, comparing with the result presented in reference. And after that, you will compare. This chart shows the process of writing and presenting a scientific present text or scientific paper. It can be a scientific report. This is the way that you will flow chart shows the process. So if there is a process in your work, instead of writing lines and words, and then simply give a flowchart and show and present the flowchart and explain it short. That's all. It will be much more clear than you want to write a text to inform the author inform the reader about the process. Schematic images. So it's good, this type of images for explaining the theory. So it is something that it is not possible to see in a real image. So you can make a schematic image. For example, here, this is an schematic image. So you see the hydrogen, low hydrogen and high hydrogen, and you see the boundaries of the grain down. That in that way, this is a schematic. So you can combine this schematic result with a scatter plot, microstructure, so to give more information. Maybe if necessary, you can mix these things together in one figure. Because you need to actually practice to find a way how to give the information in the shortest and fastest way to the readers. Not for each part you want to explain, you add one figure for one page and you explain something, and after that give another figure which is somehow a complementary figure to the previous one. Put them together if possible, and so that the reader can see the whole story at one glance. Here also we have a schematic image on the left. As you see, it's part of a piece work, and also in the center, in the center, you also see a schematic, but you see a real image above and on top of it. That's good. It will connect somehow the theory to the practice. Also, the instrument on the right-hand side. Also, you see the schematic form of that on the left-hand side. So you see, based on this, you can emphasize on the theoretical part and how the theory is connected to practice with the schematic figure and combining with the real figure, real image of it. In addition, you can also have a combined process. So, for example, in the figure, you see you have a plot, the voltage and the currents, and you have come to the results for temperature, for this in welding, for example. Then you come to phase fraction, and you come to this result. And here on the left-hand side, you see down is a microstructure, and you see that some parts are magnified on the right-hand side, and with some figures and some images related to the small dots. So you can simply combine schematic images with the real images. Also, you can combine the process with the schematic and also with plots and graphs and something together to give the general information whatever the process to the reader. Just this, some hints about the graphical work. Search how to save high quality image from videos. So it's important that when you plot something and you want to show something, when in paper or in your presentation, they have high quality and visible to audiences. Please consider this as one point. It's important point. Visibility is very important. So if you have microstructure, always you need to give a scale bar so that the reader can see how much this is smaller than reality or the real board, real piece board, for example. If you have errors, you put them on the graphs. Proper is this font and size. As expected, text should be visible from distance. If you are presenting a table to audiences, think if the person sitting at the end of the play, the saw, can see that or not. Make them visible. If necessary, make them larger or bold. Do not use defaults. So you can change this the word, and they have some defaults. So you change it based on the purpose that you have. They are not necessarily best. You decide about this. For presenting the data, it's normally for your data you can, because the data sometimes they are too many. You cannot give a table or you cannot write it. Give a plot, make a figure to present the data. The best way. If you can merge figures or combine figures, use them. If you want to connect the theory with the practice, then it's good to use schematic figures. It is your own art, actually. You should think how to make this beautiful and attractive to the reader. But it should not be too much art, but just it is a scientific work. It is not an artwork. So consider that it should not the art that you work that you do in your work is not that much so that it will hide somehow the scientific part. So when you want to submit a paper to a journal or somewhere, they normally have some rules regarding the quality of the figures and quality of the images. Before then, read the requirement for that journal before submitting for them. And do not forget that when you want to use any figure, table from a book, an article, a report, or whatever which are published, you need to get permission for your thesis. If you do not do it, it may be considered as plagiarism.